Having been an exchange student myself, I can attest to the fact that studying abroad is a fantastic experience, as not only does it allow one to broaden their cultural horizons as well as share their own culture with the country that they're visiting, but it also allows one to make lasting connections across the world. In high school, when I visited Ireland for a week, I had the chance to stay at the home of an Irish student, got to see what an Irish school was like, toured the local sites, had a ton of delicious food, and even had my first kiss? Now that I've got your attention and hopefully successfully clickbaited you into giving me a view, my first kiss wasn't with a person, but with a rock. Or rather, stone. You know, as one does. I hope I didn't sorely disappoint those of you guys who had the impression that I was referring to a real person kiss, though I did have that experience too, just not in Ireland. The stone that I gave my first kiss to is called the Blarney Stone, located in Ireland's Blarney Castle. According to Irish lore, should one kiss the Blarney Stone, they will have bestowed upon them the gift of the gab, which, though the definition does vary based on your source, generally means that the kisser becomes a more compelling speaker, and a confident and eloquent one at that. I guess the Blarney Stone worked to some extent, because I'm now oversharing my most personal memories to entertain strangers on the internet. So on the day of the stone kissing, we woke up extremely early in the morning, still very much jet lagged despite it being our second to last day in Ireland. We inhaled breakfast in the hotel's breakfast spread, I had seconds and went up for more even after that, had time for me to demagnetize my hotel card on accident for the second time, and then we strapped ourselves into the car for a very, very long road trip. So you can probably reckon that when it was time for us to finally disembark from the car, my legs totally gave way. But once I was able to regain my sense of where the ground was, we took a walk through the gardens surrounding Blarney Castle, stopping to take photos outside in front of the castle itself. Since the Blarney Stone was at the very top of the castle, we had to climb all the way up throughout the building, scaling multiple sets of curling staircases. I wore the wrong kind of footwear that day, and the extreme discomfort that my feet were in forced me to take breaks in between every staircase to recover my stamina. Eventually, we reached the final staircase, which led to the top of the castle. Much to my surprise, however, the stone wasn't like your average, moderately sized stone resting atop a pedestal. A stone that you can just queue up in front of, a stone that you can just come and walk by to give it a quick peck. No. This stone was literally built into one of the castle walls, and this wall that the stone is built into hangs off of the castle, where there's this human-sized gap that the kisser needs to fit into in order to make contact with the stone. Also, did I mention that there's a gigantic height involved? Now, to fit into this gap, one must sit down on the very edge of the castle's ledge, lie down, and then scoot over so their back is arched backwards over that ledge. While the kisser arches backwards, there are 2 guide rails for the kisser to grab onto from both sides, incorporated into the castle's wall. Additionally, there's an assistant there to hold you, so you don't fall. So my group inches towards the stone as the line progresses, each group member giving the rock a kiss with absolutely no hesitation until only I remained. I almost turned back, similarly to what I was like right before my K-pop audition, which you should really go watch if you haven't seen already. Or, go watch it again. As a sympathetic nervous system responds to the scenario before me, my hands began to sweat. Sopping wet in the winter cold, yes, lovely little visual for you guys right there. I stepped before the stone and sat down. I wanted the bragging rights, okay? There was so much meme potential in telling people that my first kiss was with a stone. Now that I was between the assistant's arms, I scooted over, leaned back, and grabbed the railing. As I grabbed the railing, the sweat from my hands began to accumulate. My grip completely skated across the metal, and although I slipped, I did manage to catch myself. Once I did secure a good grip on the guide rails, because of the nervous sweat that I had broken into, my hands stuck to the metal. In that moment, time quite literally froze. As I attempted to peel myself off from the rails while still suspended in a backbend, mind you, every second that passed seemed agonizingly slow. I grit my teeth and ripped my hands off the railing one after the other, successfully unpeeling myself. Where was I? Right, the kissing. So when I arched backwards to kiss the stone, it took every fiber in my being to not look down. I drew in my breath and exhaled, watching the warm air evaporate into the cold. I closed my eyes, leaned in, and went in for the kiss. Look, I'm not even gonna lie to you, that rock was absolutely freezing. Not only was it cold, it was damp too. After we had all finished the kissing, we took some photos at the top of the castle. The view at the top was breathtaking, and the place truly felt alive with history. In hindsight, I really had a lot of fun checking out both the castle and the Blarney Stone that resides within it while on my trip as an exchange student. And there you have it, the story of my first kiss abroad, which, when you think about it, technically wasn't a lie. Real quick, before I end this video, I want to say a huge thank you to Kami for drawing these 2 lovely pieces for me. It's the first time that anyone has ever drawn my character, and I'll really cherish them forever. And lastly, thank you guys all so much for watching. I'll see you next time.